A few years ago, I started this project called the Messages of Hope. I got the idea after seeing a photo project where people were sharing different messages to try to encourage people. And I've seen people that leave like index cards and post-it notes around town with just little encouraging sayings. And I wanted to create something similar. So I started this project with the idea of getting people to share their own personal positive affirmations, things that they tell themselves or have told others, to spread a little bit of hope. And the idea of it was we would write these messages on a foam heart, and then we would set up a photo shoot, and they would be displaying the heart with that message of hope, and then I turned them into cards. Now, when I was going through this project, I shared some of my own, and I got phrases from other people, but I also did a little research on the internet because I wanted to make sure that I had a wide variety of phrases for people to choose from that they could use that resonated with them. And one of the ones that really stuck with me was an acronym for HOPE, and that's what I want to kind of share a little bit about today. See, the acronym was HOPE. It's spelled out HOPE, H-O-P-E. Hold on, pain ends. So simple, right? If you stop to think about it, what do we need hope the most when we're really struggling with something? And if you look at it from the lens of recovery, and you're coming out of this place of darkness, where you feel like this is as good as life can get. You've been beat down by the system, your own thoughts brought you down, and you start to think that, you know what, I can't do anything. My life is limited. I no longer have the hopes and dreams that I wanted. And for me, when I got stuck in that place, when I got stuck in that place of utter chaos and despair, it led me down a path where suicide really truly felt like the only option. See, it wasn't that I wanted to die, because I didn't. I still had hopes and goals and dreams and things that I wanted to accomplish. I just couldn't see how I could do it. I didn't believe it was possible. I was stuck. And it's hard to define, and even now, I've been struggling off and on through this quarantine. And before the quarantine, just before it really started to hit, I had been struggling, and then things were starting to get better, and then it hit, and I started struggling again. But this last week and a half, 2 weeks, have really been hard. And in a lot of ways, I felt like I regressed so far back that I didn't really think I could ever get to where I wanted to go. And I still had the hopes and the dreams that I was trying to accomplish, the goals. And I was working towards those goals, and I still am. There were times when it just felt so completely pointless. All the thoughts and feelings, and for lack of a better word, voices in my head beating me down, telling me I was worthless, telling me that I would never be able to accomplish anything, telling me all these things that just kept me down. And now I can't really define it. But I want to believe that right now there's this small little tiny spark of hope that's starting to build. And see, that's the thing about hope, is it's really fragile, especially in the beginning. If you think about it, when you're out camping and you're trying to start that campfire, if you build up all the wood and you have all the big pieces and you try to light that fire, it's not going to work because there's just too much. So you have to break it down and move some of the stuff out and build just a small little pile of kindling. And you have to get that little spark, that little bitty flame to start. And you have to protect it because it's fragile. And you can't let other things come in and overwhelm it. You got to support it, and you got to protect that little flame until it starts to catch on, and it starts to build, and it starts to feed, and it can start to support those bigger logs. And before you know it, you got a full-blown campfire. And if you're really lucky, you can even build it even further up into a nice big bonfire. But it all starts with that small spark of hope. Is the same way. See, you can do all these things, but it takes that small spark to get it started. And that acronym, hold on, pain ends. See, there's this common misconception amongst people that when you're feeling suicidal, it's because you're not strong enough. You're not resilient enough. The truth is, we're all given strength and resilience, and we all have it. And when you're fighting that battle, when you're fighting it with yourself, it's not that you're not strong. You're holding on with everything you have. I don't care who you are. Think about if you were holding on to a rope and you were holding on for dear life, and you're holding on, and you keep holding. You're gonna get tired. And even though you don't want to give up, you get so tired that it's hard. It's hard to keep holding on. And eventually you just lose the strength to go. And before you know it, you can't hold on anymore. You have nothing left. But what were to happen if somebody came along and saw you struggling, saw you holding on to that rope for dear life, and they knew you were doing everything you could to survive? And maybe you don't have the energy to ask for help, because you are putting all your effort and energy just into holding on. But someone comes along and they see that, and they recognize that. They see that you need a little bit of support. So maybe they reach out and they ask you, hey, what can I do? You may not be able to answer. But one of the greatest things that has happened in my life is when someone has come up to me and said, hey, I can see you're struggling. What can I do to help you? And I can't answer them. And I say, you know what? That's okay. I'm just going to be here with you. Lean into me. I got you. I'm going to help support you. I'm going to help hold you up so that you can let go a little bit. And see, God's there, and that's what He wants. He wants us to lean into Him, but sometimes that's really hard. It's hard to let go of everything, and even though He'll be there and He'll catch you, it's hard. It's hard to do that when you don't really have the trust yet, which is where I'm at. I'm building it and I'm working on it, but it's still hard. It's still hard to have that trust. It's not God that I don't trust, it's myself. I don't trust myself enough just to let go. So I keep holding on. But I'm lucky because I've got some amazing people in my life that right now they're there and they're supporting me. They're leaning into me. They're helping me navigate this path. They're helping me find that little tiny spark. And they're protecting it. They're supporting it. And they're feeding into it a little bit at a time. They're not trying to overwhelm it. They're not trying to put the full campfire because they recognize that it's not there yet. So that they keep feeding it just a little bit at a time. Giving it a little bit more oxygen, a little bit more fuel, and helping it build up slowly. Because what happens If you build it up too quickly, it can just go out. But with that support, and as you build it slowly, eventually it's going to be able to live on its own, and I won't need as much support, and I won't need someone constantly feeding into it like I do right now. And I hate that I need it. I really do. I want nothing more than to be able to just be okay on my own. To be able to feed that hope. To be able to feed that fuel and that fire, and to believe in my own worth. To believe that I have value. Because while I recognize it through others, because others have shown me that I have value in their lives, I'm still struggling to see that value of my own, to see my own worth. I want to challenge you today. I want you to stop and think about this for just a moment. Maybe you're where I'm at, because I know I'm not alone. And if you are where I'm at, then I want you to know you're not alone either. And even though it's hard to reach out and ask for help, don't give up. Okay, keep fighting, keep holding on. Keep trying to reach out and let people know that you're hurting. Just have some hope. Hold on, pain ends. This is the important part. Because I'm hoping, i.e. I'm believing, that there's going to be somebody out there that is watching this right now that's not going to be where I'm at. But it's going to be where the people I have in my life that recognize it and are supporting me, that you're going to be someone that can support somebody else. That you're going to recognize what I'm talking about in somebody else. Somebody that you think is strong. Someone that you think has got it all together. Someone you don't think, oh yeah, they're struggling a little bit, but they got it. They're strong. They're a strong person. They don't need help. If they needed help, they'd ask for it. But maybe they are asking for it, but you're just not recognizing that. I want to encourage you, reach out to that person. Maybe it's someone that you used to have a really close connection with, and through time and space and whatever, that connection started to sever, but you still think about him, and you still care about him. Reach out to him. Just say, hey, how's it going? I miss you. I hope things are going well. I trust things are going well. But if not, I'm here. Because then you're opening the door and you're letting them know that, hey, there's somebody out there that cares about me. And even if they don't reach out, at least they'll know there's somebody that cares about them. See, I think that's one of the hardest things. One of the hardest things about the last few months has been this social distancing and this quarantine. And even though I've been fortunate enough to have some contact and interaction with people outside of my family, outside of my house, and I've been able to contact and interact with people on Zoom, which has helped, but it's not the same. I miss my routine. I miss my structure. I miss having a sense of purpose. So I have all these projects that I'm working on because I'm trying to create that purpose. And on the good days, on the days when I don't feel like my head is just completely jumbled and unraveling in the huge chaotic mess, I can recognize that and I can see a future. Then there's other days when I don't want to sever the ties, but it feels like it's the right thing to do. And I've tried a couple of times, but because I have an awesome support system, they won't let me. And they remind me that that's not right. That's not the right thing to do. That's not God.